let's start with UConn.
Okay, that's fair.
They deserve to go first.
Yep. That's fair.
The champs.
All right, so the UConn Huskies, man, it's remarkable when you look at what they've done these last 2 years. And because this year, I don't think they had the same level of like NBA talent maybe that they had last year. But I mean, again, like, listen, I've said it to you for months here. Steph Castle would be a top 5 pick for me. He'd be a top 5 pick. You know, Donovan Clingan is going to be an NBA player. Alex Caravan's going to end up playing in the NBA. I don't know about Tristan Newton. I don't know if he'll make make a team, but he'll certainly get a shot at it.
I think Cam Spencer probably gets a shot too. Right?
I do too. I think all 5 of them will have a chance. My tweet from earlier this year about Indiana having similar talent in their starting 5 doesn't look so good right now. Castle didn't play that game. Castle didn't play. And it was honestly more saying how great a coach Dan Hurley was at the time. And to me, how bad a coach Mike Woodson was.
Indiana's backcourt is not in the same stratosphere as UConn.
No doubt. But the UConn Huskies, what Dan Hurley has done in these 2 years is nothing short of remarkable. What I want to ask you is, a lot of people were coming up to me after the game and saying, like, is this one of the best teams of all time? Because of how they've dominated their competition for the last 2 years, and this year even more so. You played against some really good teams that went to the Final Four and won the whole thing. I've obviously covered the sport for 25 years. In this era, Rob, this is one of the best teams of all time. In this era. But again, you put them up against 92 Duke with Leitner, Hurley, Grant Hill,
I think
Thomas
some
Hill.
of that, Jeff, is like the aura grows to me when time has passed and there ends up being really good NBA players on the team. Like to me, when you look at Florida and they go back to back, obviously they're one of the iconic college basketball teams of this century. And I think they would be put up against like 92 Duke. But you're like, man, Al Horford, he's a multiple time All-Star. Joakim Noah was a really good player. Corey Brewer, good NBA career. That to me like grows it. Does that make sense? I know I don't know if that necessarily should, because you look at the domination, the fact that UConn has played now 10 NCAA tournament games and won all of them by double digits. And then now you've got the 1 seed and a Purdue team that I think against anybody else would have won the national title. Yeah, that's amazing. We'll see kind of how that NBA boost gives them, like 92 Duke, man. All right, Grant Hill's he was gonna, if he doesn't get hurt, you're looking at a guy that's like a top 3 or 4 player in the NBA, and still was that at times. Like he was a really, really good NBA player. Yeah, I think that they are the way that they play defensively. A lot of teams have tried to do that game plan. It hasn't really worked.
Why?
Except for when you've got the length and the discipline, and I just think that team is so together on defense that you've got to be locked in, and you've got to say, okay, we've got to be all right with Donovan looking like he's getting killed for the first 10 minutes, because he was. Now he started winning some of those battles. He started getting some stops,
and he made Edey work. He made Edey work.
He did.
That was the big
thing. He wasn't getting just punked out. And Edey made some really tough shots to start the game. He had the up and under. He was scoring over the top of him. Like he made some nice plays. But it takes so much discipline to not go down there, not lose your mind. Then when you've got Samson Johnson there, all right, we're trapping now to give him help because he's a little bit light in the ass compared to Donovan Clingan. And when they did, no breakdowns on the backside, no breakdowns rotating to shooters. That they were so on it. That was incredible to watch. And then some of the actions Danny Hurley runs, I swear to God, I've never seen the skip pass into the handoff shit. I don't know where he got that from, but that shit is high level. And we'll see a lot of people running it next year. I promise you that, because everybody copies the good stuff. The slip he got for Caravan in the second half is like, this dude he's wheeling and dealing, no doubt.
And they have the players that can run it, Rob. Like you have to have the right players that can run that stuff, because it is more complicated. And I said it, like you've got to have high IQ players, and they've got that. They've got tough, high IQ skilled dudes.
They don't have a weakness. They don't. I was so impressed. I really was. They are an incredibly deserving national champion, and to go back to back is an incredible achievement. I don't know who do they lose. I guess they'll lose a lot, right? Caravan could
They
come
could
back.
lose all of them, but they can lose Caravan. Caravan could just say, you know what, it's a weak draft. I'm going to be what I'm going to be.
Crazy? He didn't even play well.
No.
For the whole tournament, he didn't play well.
Semifinal, he was good. Second half of the semifinal game,
he made some shots second half. Yeah.
But yes, he was just okay. But I think he probably goes somewhere in the second round, you know, in the 40s or 50s, probably something like that. Maybe even the 30s. But Castle's gone, Klingon's gone, Newton's obviously gone, and Spencer's obviously gone. So they're going to have a complete rebuild for the most part. And, you know, it's going to be interesting. They missed out on Cooper Flagg to Duke. So how good will they be? I mean, Hurley is he's a relentless worker. And that's part of the reason why they're so good, Rob.
But their history has become unbelievable. Like we did the watch party for Bleacher Report, and we're having guests on from UConn.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, Rip Hamilton is on the show, Karan Butler is on the show, Rudy Gay is on the show. You're like,
no,
wow.
They had dudes.
And you guys I know had Emeka Okafor on, and you know, you've
Charlie
got
Villanueva and
Ray
Ben Gordon's
Allen
not
is in the building. Ben Gordon played for them. Like they had Kemba Walker, their team, even the team we lost. The funny thing is that Purdue lost to UConn in that building in 2009.
Yeah.
And Kemba Walker was their sixth man.
Yeah.
You know, like he's and Jerome Dyson had gotten hurt. And if he doesn't, they could have won the whole thing.
Right.
Jerome Dyson blew his knee out. They had AJ Price, they had Jeff Adrian, they had Hashim Thabit. They were loaded. Like they were really, really good. But yeah, it's like I was having PTSD of Hashim Thabit putting my shot in the stands down there in the one end zone because they got us there too. You know, like we're 0-2 against UConn in that building.